Hello, game fans, and welcome to the Steam Chamber. This is the Forest, although at the moment it's more of a cave. This is a new early access title that popped up on Steam over the weekend. It is a survival game, survival horror very much at the moment on screen, which is something more of a survival in the wilderness style game. It's got a lot of DayZ going on, but it's also got a little bit more Minecraft light aspects going on, and I'm not going to say roguelite or roguelike, but it does have permadeath as well. Now, the game sees you, much like Don't Starve, trying to survive the wilderness alone and while fighting off starvation and cold and also the locals. So the game starts with you crashing on an airplane. You and your son or your brother, it's not quite clear what the relationship is, are the only survivors. And once you wake up, your son or sibling, whoever he may be, is taken, leaving you alone to fight for your life against the cannibalistic mutant locals and against various things such as hunger, as mentioned earlier. The game does have a crafting system, and you will see a bit of that in a moment. But as you can see, it's also quite a visually nice game. The textures aren't amazing at the moment. They're quite shiny if you look at the arms. It's not just because of the weather. Now, this is the one of the ways of building. You choose what you want to build from a survival handbook and place it, and then you have to gather the resources to build it. So what you can see there is the inventory screen. Now, the game does have some issues, as you saw there. When I chose my axe, my flare gun dropped. However, if I were to go into my inventory now, my flare gun would very much still be there. It does seem to have some sort of a duplicating error. Now, you can't pick up the duplicate items, but it is quite annoying because it means they do end up littered across the ground, as you might see at some points in the video. Now, everything that flashes can be picked up, including this oily goop, but I'm not sure entirely what it does. You seem to cover your arms in it once you pick it up. I don't know if it provides some sort of camouflage or not. I don't know if that's a feature that's actually fully in the game or not yet. I haven't really tested it. But as you can see, I've picked those items up and now it's switched me back to a different axe. So it seems to be quite common that once you go into this inventory screen and you choose something, or other times when it's mainly when you pick something up, it tends to glitch. If you go back into the inventory screen and choose it, then it's not so much of an issue. As you see now, I've actually got my proper axe. Now the crafting is quite nice. And also it's got this really nice animation for bringing down trees, because once you actually do chop it, they will fell, and then it's not until they actually hit the ground that they separate into the four or so logs that you can get from a single tree. So that's a really quite a nice animation for quite early on, and you'll see it pop into the constituent parts. So that will give you logs. These thinner trees that you see around, they will give you several sticks, or the very small saplings will give you one stick. You will also get leaves from these things as well, but I do believe you pick up the leaves automatically, although I'm not quite sure because I never seem to have a supply. Now that there you could see was the survival book. I'm just choosing to place a small campfire down here, and there you see I've just duplicated yet another flare gun. So you keep bringing things, and you tend to have a little update in the bottom left-hand corner to let you know that what you need for your buildings. However, I'm being told more stuff because I've abandoned a building near the plane crash site after being attacked by the locals. I thought maybe I should get away from where they were. Now, sometimes it's a little dark at night, so I do apologize for that, but I wanted to show you a good representation of exactly how everything looks in the game, including night. And as you can see in the background there, it's actually quite a visually nice game compared to other games within the survival genre that has become things like DayZ and 7 Days to Die and several others. Now here you can see I'm cooking food. Now, unlike a lot of the games like it, such as Don't Starve, you do actually get quite a lot of hunger filled from a single meal. So I've just put a lizard on the fire. Now, when you kill a lizard or kill another animal, you click on it once to skin it and click on it again to pick it up. Now, I've not found any use for the rabbit skins so far. I don't know if that's in the game. I can't even see them in my inventory. Whereas the lizard skin you can actually wear as armor. So you'll see on the bottom right-hand corner there on my red health bar, there's a couple of yellow bars. That is the representation of the armor that I have on. Now, if you want to eat things such as meat, then you will have to cook it first. So you leave it, just drop it on the fire and leave it a little while to cook. But you cannot leave it too long. If you leave it too long, it will burn and then you can't take it off the fire again. So there you go. I've just eaten that and it's completely replenished my health. Now, as you can see now, you do get a few enemies wandering about. I've picked quite a desolate area here, but this guy sort of crept up on me and gave me something of a heart attack, so I quickly switched out to my flare gun, which I am holding at the minute, but it is showing my axe. This is quite handy for keeping them at a distance. It seems to be endless ammo from the flare gun, it would seem, so far. It's not very powerful, but it does seem to get them in the end, and it means you don't have to get too close. Plus, I really didn't want to tangle this guy. He's completely painted from head to toe, and he did have fire. And you can see I've just duplicated again. Now, it's a little bit over the top in terms of how you can destroy the bodies. But on the plus side, you can then harvest their limbs. You can choose to use them as weapons if you wish, but they come in handy for effigies. So you'll build stick placements with various body parts on that I believe will scare the locals away. However, they could end up attracting them. I'm really not quite sure as yet. It is early days at the moment, and not all the features are implemented. The guy plans on updating it quite a lot, quite often. There's already a fair amount in the game to have a tinker around with, and it's not a hugely expensive game. It's got some really nice elements to it. The game visually is quite nice for its price, and considering how early on it is in the development. And there's some really nice little features, such as the crafting is nice and simple. I really like the inventory screen. The inventory is great. The fact that it's just essentially what you would do is it's exactly what you would do if you were out in a situation like this. I mean, I go camping and go hiking quite a lot, and if you want to check out what you've got, you do take it all out and you do put it out on a tarpaulin to make sure you know exactly what you've got and where everything is. And it does look it's a really nice visual representation of an inventory screen. I'm surprised others haven't done it actually, because it's a really nice, clear and concise way to do it. And I love the fact that crafting is essentially you just drag the item onto the bandana in the middle of the tarpaulin, which is just a really, really nice touch. The crafting system I haven't played around with too much as it is. It seems to be a bit trial and error at the moment. The first thing I was able to create was Molotov cocktails quite handily, which certainly isn't a bad thing. That's the basic sort of handheld items crafting. Then the crafting you get for buildings and building things such as this stick here, um, you have to choose those from your survival manual and place them. Now, as you can see here, notice another bug. It seems that my shelter has fallen to pieces, but it is also still perfectly intact. So it seems to have had some sort of issue there and come apart. But again, like I said, this is a very, very early alpha. The game is working considerably well considering it's so early on. It's not without its bugs. You've got the replication error, you've got the switching weapons error, you've got this, you've got the fact that you don't save at the moment, and I have seen one or two birds walking around mid-air. So all in all, there's still things to do. As you can see here, there's a few more things you can build. I've built a hunting shelter, but you can also build a log cabin, but you can also free build as well. As well as the storage, you can go to custom building and you can choose constituent parts such as walls and walls with doors and defensive walls, which is something I plan on doing in maybe the next video, which I don't know if I'll do another video before the next update, or I might wait until the next update to see what's fixed and what's added. And maybe I'll do something a little bit more in depth. Now, there are options for boats as well. Houseboat could be very interesting for a survival situation, especially seeing as there's a large lake behind me at the moment, as opposed to the small pond opposite me. You can see I'm trying to build an effigy here, which is a little grim. Now, one thing I did notice that wouldn't surprise me if they change is you can't. I don't know if you can actually. I've actually got any footage of it in the video, but the female tribe members tend to be topless, which in and of itself is not a problem. If we're all adults, it's a game where you fight people, so it really shouldn't be plagued by children. But I could see them possibly getting into some issues and upsetting some people, as you can hack these people apart, so there might be a sort of a question of sexual violence there, as the censors really tend not to like violence mixed with nudity because of the possible connotations it can have. At the moment, it's a perfectly innocent thing, perfectly innocent feature, but it might upset some, so it's worth bearing in mind. Here you can see the lizard I put on the fire is overcooked, and therefore I cannot eat it. It is just left sitting there. But that's pretty much what there is to the game at the minute. I mean, there are small villages, as you saw early on. You saw a glimpse. I didn't want to go anywhere near that because I'd already been knocked over the head by a native and taken to their cave, so I didn't really want to be captured again. But thank you for watching, and tune in for the next video.